But as I start, I want to do something different. Do you guys love doing tests? Do you love tests? No, okay, alam ko merong ayaw ng test, but this is just a very easy test. So this is what we're going to do this evening, okay? I'm going to show you lyrics from a certain song. Now, I want you to try to guess what is the title of that song and the artist behind that song, okay? So madali lang to, okay? Very easy. 4 songs lang, demo song. Hindi ko siya kakantahin kasi baka umuwi kayo. Okay, so first song. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to your favorite song. When you said you look a mess, I whispered underneath my breath. So what is this song? Is it A, Never Be the Same? Or is it B? Ano B? B, It's Perfect by Ed Sheeran. Who says it's A? Wala, who says it's B? Okay, it's B, right? And ilang beses ito pinapatugtog sa radyo. So this is just a demo. So it's Be Perfect by Ed Sheeran, and now try to guess this song. First song, seems like everybody got a price. I wonder how they sleep at night. When the sale comes first and the truth comes second, just stop for a minute and smile. Okay, so what is this song? What is the title of the song? Okay, it is what? Price Tag, yes, by Jessie J. Second song. Oh, every time I close my eyes, I see my name in shining lights. Yeah, a different city every night. All right, I swear the world better prepare for when I'm a billionaire. So what's the title of the song? A, is it all about the Benjamins? Do you know the song? By Puff Daddy? Or is it B, Moneymaker by Ludacris? Or is it C, Billionaire by Bruno Mars? What is the answer? Okay, it is what? It is? Billionaire, right, by Bruno Mars. Okay, and then last song, and if you're able to guess this song, medyo I have an idea of your age. So this is an oldie. So let's see if you can guess this song. So Billionaire by Bruno Mars. Last song, the best things in life are free, but you can keep them for the birds and bees. Now give me money. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, who sang this song? A, is it Money by Pink Floyd? Or B, Money Money by ABBA? Or is it C, Money by Beatles? Okay, sino nagsabing A? Money by Pink Floyd. Wala, how about B? ABBA. Kalala nyo ba si ABBA? Okay, how about C, Beatles? Okay, who will never raise their hand? Okay. Yes, the answer is Money by Beatles. Now, in all of these songs, friends, what was common? All of these songs talked about what? Money, right? All of these songs talked about money. Because the world is so concerned about money. And if you read the lyrics of the other songs, you know, it's about money, it's about sex, it's about drugs, and all of those things. Because the world has this idea that if you have lots of money, you are what? You are successful. It's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the bling. It's all about getting that wealth, that riches. So the world is so consumed about the 3 M's. Are you familiar with the 3 M's? Okay, the world is so consumed with number 1, with money. Number 2, with getting that big mansion. And then number 3, by having that Mercedes-Benz, okay, that sports car. It's all about those things. Money, big mansion, a good car. And if you have all of those things, some people are thinking, maybe I've been successful. You know, I've done my part, and I can now, have this power to buy whatever I want, and I can do whatever I want to do because I have money. But here's the problem, friends. If you have that pursuit, that you want money, it will always ask for more. Can you say more? More. It will never be enough. You get your first million, and then you want what? You want your first billion. Then you want more. That's why there was this millionaire. I don't know if you're familiar with John Rockefeller. He's an oil magnate, industrialist, philanthropist, and he was the richest man in America during his time. He even has a building to his name in New York. And one reporter asked him, how much money is enough? And this is what Rockefeller said. He's already rich, but he said, just a little bit what? A little bit more. That's why people have this idea, I need more. When we look at Facebook, when we look at our feed, what do we see? We see people, in a way, flaunting their money, flaunting their possessions. And then we feel, I need to have that. I need to be rich as well. I need to be able to buy all of those things. And we have to think, when will it be enough? That's why if that is your pursuit, you will never be satisfied. And the problem is, people think that they need more, but here's the problem. The problem of many people today is not that they earn less than they need. It is that they spend more than they have to. And so they spend more, and so they feel, I need to have a bigger salary. I need more money, right? I need that promotion. And the reality is this, in terms of the numbers here in the Philippines, only 25% of Filipino adults are aware of the basics of managing their money. But I want to set the expectation this evening. Now, this talk is not about how to earn, okay? This talk is not about how to earn through stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and all of those things. What stocks do I need to buy? But what we're going to learn this evening is about the principles that God has said in His Word, that if we do stay true to those principles, we would be financially successful in terms of God's eyes. Okay? So these are the general principles that God has in His Word that will help us answer these questions. How do I achieve true success in my finances? How do I manage money so that it doesn't manage me? Or how do I deal with money so that I have less stress? Sometimes do you think about these questions? Because there's a need for us again to answer these questions. That we would not be slaves to our money. That money will not be our pursuit, but we know that there is something more than money. There is more to success than just getting all the riches or the wealth in this world. That's why we're now in the third session of our life goals. And the third session talks about how to succeed in our finances. There's just 3 principles that I just want you to remember this evening. It's also in your workbooks. Okay, just 3 principles. Here's the first principle. Can everyone read? Give credit to whom credit is due. Now it says in Psalm 24 verse 1 that the earth is the Lord's and all it contains, the world and those who dwell in it. That here it is very clear that everything that we see right now, the chair, the table, whatever you have right now, who owns it? It is God, right? God owns everything that we see. When you go outside, when you see whatever car there may be, whatever you see outside, God owns those things as well, including your finances. But some of you may be saying, but Mark, I got my money. Let's use this example. I got my money because I have a job, right? How many of you have jobs? Raise your hand. How many of you have your own businesses? Raise your hand. Okay, so most of you work in a corporate world, right? So you have your money because you have a salary, right? But how did you get your job? Let's think about that. How did you get your job? What did you do? You what? You applied, right? There was an online post, maybe someone referred you to someone, and so you applied. Then what happened? When you applied, someone called for a what? For an interview, right? So you were scheduled for an interview. But let's say, there's so many things that can happen in that process. So you were scheduled for an interview. But let's say your interviewee had a bad day. Okay, medyo bad vibe siya ng araw na yun. And all the individuals that he was interviewing, somehow he would just fail all of those individuals. Kasi bad trip siya eh. Mababa sweldo niya, laging traffic, okay, lagi siyang nega. And so if you fail niya lang lahat, that could have happened, right? But maybe, let's say, the interviewee had a good day. And you felt that you did well in the interview. And you felt as if you would get the job. But after you, there's another candidate. And that candidate has better credentials than you. That could have happened, right? But what is the point, friends? In that process, doing that interview, talking to that person, a lot of things could have happened that is not within your control. But somehow, God in His goodness, God in His graciousness, in His faithfulness, allowed you to have your job right now. Therefore, if your job comes from God, then your money comes from whom? Comes from God, right? That's why we are to give credit to whom credit is due. And that is very important. We have that mindset that, Lord, my job comes from you. Therefore, my finances comes from you as well. And if we truly understand that, friends, if we truly understand that our work comes from God, we will have this mentality. We would have this stewardship mentality. What is a steward? A steward is someone who manages and takes care of the possession of another person. Lord, you gave me this wonderful job. Yes, there are times I don't agree with my boss. There are times I don't agree or I don't like my office mates, but I understand this is a blessing from you. And if this is a blessing, I want to take care of whatever you have given me. And because you have given me my job, my money, I want to take care of it as well. Because it comes from whom? It comes from you. And when we have that mentality, we would take care of our possessions. We would take care of our finances. We would not just squander it all away. Because in the first place, it is not mine. Right? Lord, it is yours. And a steward faithfully does what God requires of him while trusting him to do his part as he promised. Because friends, if we truly understand that the source of our income, the source of our finances, our work comes from God, then we can find security in him and him alone. Because here is the problem. The problem in one's finances is ultimately a problem of trust. Right? Where do we place our trust for financial stability? Because some of us find security in having lots of money in our savings account. Having an emergency fund. Now, those things are not bad. But you have to think, where is my true security? Is it on those things that are temporary, or is it on God who will richly or who can richly provide me with all things? And again, if you understand that, Lord, you are the one who holds my life in your hand. You are the one who would take care of me. Therefore, I can learn not to pursue wealth, not to be too consumed about money, because in the end, I know you will provide for everything that I need. That's why the Bible tells us in Matthew 6:26, says there, look at the birds. They don't plant or harvest or store food in barns, for your heavenly Father feeds them. And aren't you far more valuable to him than they are? Can all your worries add a single moment to your life? That the Bible is just saying you are very valuable in God's eyes. That God loves you and he can provide for your need. Because if he is doing this to the birds, how much more with you? So there is no need to pursue wealth. There is no need to be consumed with, getting that first million or that first billion. Continuing with Matthew 6. And why worry about clothing? Look at the lilies of the field and how they grow. They don't work or make their clothing. Yet, Solomon in all his glory was not dressed as beautifully as they are. And if God cares so wonderfully for wildflowers that are here today and thrown into the fire tomorrow, he will certainly care for you. Why do you have so little faith? The problem that we have, or why we have so little faith, is because our faith is not in God. It is on what? It is on our money at times. Right? On our job. On our salary. But again, friends, if you truly understand who God is, it's very important for you to know who your God is. Because if you are fully secured in who your God is, you won't pursue money. Because God will be enough for you as your provider, as someone who would take care of you. So remember, friends, first principle, what is the first principle? Give credit to whom credit is due. Now, second principle is to count what truly counts. What truly counts? It's not money. Because 1 Timothy tells us in 1 Timothy 6:9-10, but those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a snare and many foolish and harmful desires which plunge men into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil, and by some, by longing for it, have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. We need to know what truly counts. It's not money, because here's the result. If you would pursue riches, if you would pursue money, verse 9 is very clear. It says in verse 9, but those who want to get rich, fall into the temptation and snare and many foolish, harmful desires which plunge them into their ruin and destruction. There are so many examples of men, great leaders, millionaires, who wanted to pursue riches, but at the end of their life, they never finished well. They went to jail, they ended their life bankrupt. And here are just two examples. And you have even some examples there in your workbook. And this is one example. John Brooks. Do you know John Brooks? Some of you may not know John Brooks, but John Brooks is a millionaire. He made his million by being in the medical industry and in the real estate industry. And he was known as one of the richest men in New Hampshire during his time. But here is the problem. When you're rich, sometimes you think about your money so much and you're always consumed or thinking if someone would steal anything from you. That's why there was this story that was shared to me 2 days ago, that there's this man who's very rich, but he can't what? He can't sleep. Because somehow he's just always thinking about his money. Will I lose it tomorrow? Will my partner steal from me? And this is the same case with what happened with John Brooks. He was assuming that Jack Reed, take note, what is the occupation of Jack Reed? He is just a handyman. But he was assuming that Jack was somehow stealing from him. So what did he do? He hired 2 men to somehow ambush Jack. And then when they ambushed Jack, he killed Jack by beating him to death with a sledgehammer. Just because of a simple assumption. And there was an article that somehow wrote that the money that Jack might have stolen is just around $200,000 US dollars. If you're a millionaire, friends, $200,000 is really pretty small, right? Okay lang kung ninakawan ka ng 5 million or billions. But just $200,000 and you're going to kill that man and beat that guy to death? You have to really think, what is your priority? What is your perspective? Another example, Wong Kwong Yu. He was a high school dropout who made his fortune in electronics retailing, and he was once the richest man in China. But he wanted more, just a little bit more. And so what did he do? In 2010, he was sentenced to 14 years in prison because of bribery, because of insider trading and stock manipulation. This is what I'm saying. When will it be enough? There would always be the desire, I need more. You're already rich. You can buy whatever you want, but still you want more, to the point that you would do bribery, to the point that you would do stock manipulation. These 2 individuals are just examples of how riches can lead to our ruin and destruction. But don't get me wrong, friends, because money matters in this life, but there are other things that matter more. Money is needed, right? We need money to buy what we need. But do not neglect the other things that really matters. Those things that really count. What are those things that really count? Because what truly counts is spiritual riches, not worldly riches. That's why this is what it says in 1 Timothy 6:17-18. Can I ask everyone to read this? Verse 17. Instruct those not to be conceited or to fix their hope on the uncertainty of riches, but on God who richly supplies us with all things to enjoy. Instruct them to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share. Look at what the Bible is saying. God is saying, instruct those who are rich not to pursue those things, because those things don't matter. Instead, what are they supposed to pursue? Instruct them to what? To do good. Instruct them to be rich in good works, to be generous, to be ready to share. Because again, it's not about worldly riches. It is about spiritual riches. It is about having contentment in God, having peace in God, having joy in God. Because money will never bring you happiness. Because money is only temporary. That's why if you would continue in verse 19, this is what verse 19 says. Storing up for themselves the treasure of a good foundation for the future, so that they may take hold of that which is life indeed. That the Bible was saying, don't pursue riches. Tell those who are rich to pursue doing good, giving, and being generous, because in the end, these are things that have eternal value. These are things that will last until heaven. These are treasures with a good foundation. Friends, count what truly counts. And I found out there was this guy, he's very rich, but he somehow understood this. I don't know if he's a Christian. I don't think he is a Christian, but he's a millionaire. And I don't know if you know Richard Branson. Do you know him? He owns the Virgin Group, which is a big group. I think it's an estimated around 5.1 billion in terms of, all of his worth. And he said this, very interesting. He said, he understood what truly counts, because he said, too many people measure how successful they are by how much money they make or the people they associate with. Basically, when you get to my age, you'll measure your success in life by how many people you want to love you actually do love you. Friends, he understood. He understood what truly counts. He's a billionaire, but he said it's not about the money. You know what is important in this life is those who love you actually do love you for who you are. Not because you have riches, not because you can buy them whatever they want. Because it's not really about that. And the Lord wants us to live that life, that we're not pursuing riches, but instead we're living that abundant life. When Jesus said, I came that you may have abundant life, Jesus was not saying, I came that you may be abundant and be rich and be wealthy. He was saying, I want you to have that abundant life that is content, that life that is at peace, that life that is at joy with your relationship with me. Because again, you understand that the source of your income comes from whom? It comes from God. Right? And because, Lord, you hold my life in your hand, I can find peace. I can find joy. I can find contentment. So friends, count what truly counts. And then third principle is dare to share. Okay, so first principle is what? First principle is give credit to whom credit is due. Second principle, count what truly counts. And what is the third? It is dare to share. Hebrews 13:16 tells us, and do not neglect doing good and sharing, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. Some of us have this idea that when we give, we're losing money, right? We're losing whatever possession we are giving. But I want you to realize this evening that for the world, giving is a loss. But for a Christian, giving is always a profit. It might not mean that you would get what you gave back. If you gave 1,000 pesos, does not mean that you would get 1,000 pesos in return as well. But there is a profit. It might not be something tangible, but it can be a character that you develop. That's why Paul said in Philippians 4:17, not that I seek the gift itself, but I seek for the profit which increases to your account. That Paul also understood that he was rejoicing because somehow the church in Philippi gave him something, gave him a love gift. But Paul was saying, I'm not rejoicing because you were generous. I'm not rejoicing because you gave me this gift. I'm rejoicing because the moment that you gave, something was credited to your account. Are you familiar with the reward system? Sinong may SM Advantage dito? Right? Nag-SM Advantage ba kayo? Hindi kayo nagmamall or trabaho lang? Okay. Alam ko, some of you buy, right? You use SM Advantage. And every time you use it, what do you get? You get points, right? Something is credited to your account. And that is what Paul was saying. When you are giving, there is a profit that is being credited to your account. It might not be money, but there are things that you are learning along the way as you are giving. Because godly giving produces these virtues. Number one, it produces obedience. That you understand that in Malachi, God said, give me a tenth of your income. And you're saying, Lord, because I understand. Number one, we know that everything comes from Him, that my money, that my work comes from you, and I want to obey your word and just give 10% back to you. Okay? It shows your obedience. And obedience is a sign that you what? That you love God. Because if you would love Him, you would what? You would obey His commands. Giving shows that you are grateful. Lord, I'm so thankful with my salary. I'm so thankful with my job. And the best way for me to show that I'm grateful with whatever you have given me is to give back what is rightfully yours. It is my way to show my love and gratitude to you. It is your way as well to show your priority. That, Lord, I get my salary, and then I set aside a certain portion already for you because you are my priority. But if you do this, you get your salary, and then you buy whatever you want to buy, you shop whatever you want to shop, and then whatever is remaining, you give to God. Friends, what are you telling God? You're telling God, Lord, my scraps are yours. Right? You're showing Him you are not my priority. But if the moment that you get your salary, Lord, I want to set aside time for you, you're showing Him, God, you are very important to me, and you come first in my life because you are my priority. And number 4, you are showing your faith. Lord, this is the only amount that I have. But I understand everything comes from you. The whole earth is yours. And I know if I give this amount, I know in the end, even though minsan gipit na ako sa aking budget, that you will still provide for everything that I need. It shows your faith. It shows that you understand that you are giving credit to whom credit is due. That's why you are learning all of these things as you are giving. Charles Riley said, grace does not make giving optional. It is a privilege and responsibility of every Christian, and it is the concrete manifestation of his love for God. Friends, giving is just a sign that you truly understand the principle, the first principle, to give credit to whom credit is due, and you understand and you know what truly counts. And you're just saying, Lord, I love you so much, and my evidence is to give back what is rightfully yours. But maybe some of you are saying or thinking, but Mark, you don't know my situation. You don't know my budget right now. Gipit na ako. Okay? Ang kinakain ko na nga lang, kanin tsaka toyo. Okay? Wala na ako pambigay. And you're telling me to give? You're telling me to give back to the Lord? Well, let me tell you what the problem is. This is the problem. Let me show you this diagram. Now, you guys started in an entry-level position, correct? Most of you are working in a corporate job. Now, let's use this example. When you started working, let's just say, okay, for illustration purposes only, let's say you have a salary of around 10,000 pesos, okay, for your first job. No experience yet, you just graduated, 10,000 pesos, okay, I'll take that. And so, because you only had 10,000 pesos, you were taking the jeep, okay? You were eating in carinderias. Sa Makati nag-work, you were eating in Jolly Jeep. Are you familiar with Jolly Jeep? Yeah. You're eating in those things because you don't have budget, right? You only have a 10,000 peso salary every month. But somehow you're working hard, you're doing overtime, and in time, as you gain experience, as you gain skills, somehow your salary increases. Your salary may not increase exponentially, but it will increase through time because of experience, because of skill, because of other factors. So let's say your salary increased from 10,000 pesos. Let's say your salary is now 25,000 pesos. Okay na, no? Pwede na pang Starbucks. So what happened? Because you now have 25,000 pesos, you're still taking the jeep, maybe the bus, but now you're no longer eating in carinderias. Because you have money, you can now eat in McDonald's, right? You can now eat in Jollibee. Now you can buy Starbucks. Before you were just buying 3-in-1, okay? And then you still kept working hard. Okay? Still did overtime, still tried to get that promotion, and somehow you were promoted, and now you have a 6-figure salary. Do you want that? A 6-figure salary. Let's say you're now earning 100,000 per month. Wow, that's a big jump, right? From 10,000 pesos per month, now you're 100,000 pesos per month. And because you have that money, now you're no longer taking the jeep, correct? You now have your own car. You can now pay for the toll. You now can pay for the parking. You're no longer eating in McDonald's and Jollibee. Jollibee, ayoko niyan. I will eat in Fridays. Yes, okay. I will eat in Circles every weekday, okay? And I will always buy coffee in Starbucks. What's the point, friends? This is the problem with most singles. As our salary increases, our lifestyle increases as well. Can you relate? Right? And because we are following the trend of our salary, there is no room to give. And the problem is, if your lifestyle is following the trend of your salary, it's hard to go down in terms of your lifestyle, right? It's easy to go up, but it's hard to go down. You've been used to driving and now you lost your job and you have to take the jeep. Mahirap na, right? Minsan nagko-complain ka na, ang init naman dito, okay? And all of those things. Because it's hard to change when you're so used to something. That's why here is the challenge. As your salary increases, your lifestyle should not increase as well. We should learn how to live a simple life. How to live in contentment. You get your 25,000 pesos a month salary. Does that mean that you always have to eat in McDonald's or Jollibee? Well, at times maybe, and at times still continue eating in simple locations, right? Or magbaon ka. Live in a simple way because the area here, the gap, friends, that is the area for giving. But we only have to live a simple way. And friends, if you can learn how to live in a simple way, let me tell you, you will have room to give. You will have room to bless others with the blessing that God has given you. But it will be hard. There will be an adjustment. But if you would always follow the trend of your lifestyle, it will always go up. And you have to be careful because the moment that it comes down, for some reason, there will be a big adjustment in your life. So don't allow that to happen. Continuously live in a simple way. I'm not saying na bawal na mag-Starbucks. I'm not saying na bawal na mag-Fridays or mag-Circles, okay? I'm just saying live in such a simple way that you take care of the money that God has given you because you understand, Lord, I am just a steward. I just don't want to squander my money and feel that it is mine. You have blessed me with this money. And I know you have blessed me so that I could bless others as well. Earn all you can, save all you can, and give all you can. This is what John Wesley said. And at this time, I want to ask my wife to just give her short testimony, short story of how she applied giving and how it really has blessed our lives. Ladies and gentlemen, Efrin Lagman Sorongon.
Call me F for short, and I am here to share with you how I can relate to this message and how I was blessed in return. So my husband asked me to share a bit of story about this. So hopefully I have enough time. I think I don't have much time, but I'll try to make it quick. So again, to those who don't know me that much, I guess most of you don't know me, I used to work in the corporate industry. I worked in the corporate industry for more than 5 years, almost 6 years, if I counted that correctly. I worked in the corporate world for more than 5 years, and recently I transferred to a full-time home-based job. So I'm now working from home, and it's been great so far. I just recently started. It's great because I end at 3:30 in the afternoon, and I have time to fulfill my responsibilities and my new role as a wife to my husband, and I get to support him and be that helpmate to him. But then, before going to the home-based job, again, I mentioned kanina na I was working in the corporate world. In the corporate world, I have this office mate. Her name is Che, and she has my permission to share it with you all tonight. Her name is Che, and I worked with Che for a few years, but then it was just last year wherein we got to work together in the same team. So we were transferred in the same team. We had the same role at work, same responsibilities, same KPIs, if you're familiar with that. I'm sure most of you are. And so that's the time that we really got to know one another. And during office hours, every morning, we would have this coffee mornings. So during coffee mornings, we would just have coffee, get to know one another. And from time to time, I would share my faith to her. I would share a bit of how I got into a relationship with the Lord, and I would really ask her, how can I pray for you, and all those things. But she was not as receptive. In fact, she would not pry, or she would not even ask questions to me. And she would acknowledge my sharings, but she will remain silent about it. And it's okay. I was just being very patient with her. And during also our coffee mornings, that's the time that I got to know her personally. I got to know her on a personal level, and I found out that she is the breadwinner of their family. So her family lives in Bicol, and she's the only one living here in Manila to work and earn and to feed her family back in Bicol. She has two younger siblings, and she's in charge of, their education. So she's paying for their tuition fees and all those things. And her ultimate dream really is to build a house for her family. Kasi lumaki sila ng nakikitira lang sila. So that's really was her ultimate dream. So when she started working a few years ago, she already started saving up for their future house. And right now, actually, binubuo pa rin yung house nila. And so I was like, wow, she's really masipag and talagang love na love niya yung family niya. And I would just listen to her and really just pray again for her and for her family, and she would just acknowledge it until one time, just early this year, before leaving the company or leaving the corporate world, in one of our coffee mornings, I saw her approaching me, and she seemed so sad. She seemed so devastated, and she told me, F, and then it's like, oh, what, che? And then sabi niya lang, F, can you pray for me? And it was the first time that I heard the word pray came out of her mouth. In the entire time that we were talking, or in the entire time that we were having our coffee mornings the past years, that was the first time that I heard the word pray come out of her mouth. So I told her, sure, how can I pray for you? And so she told me, do you know what happened to Mount Mayon? I don't know if you guys are familiar with what happened to Mount Mayon just early this year, na parang may lava na lumalabas, and parang some people are even saying that it's about to explode sooner than later. So she told me that. She asked me, are you aware of that? And I said, yes, what happened? And she told me, you know what, our house was affected by it. She ended up crying. She started crying, and she told me our house was affected by it. Nawala na yung bubong namin, and all the materials that we bought to build the house further, they were all melted or damaged. And she was just crying because this was her ultimate dream. And she was really saving up so much to the point na wala nang natitira sa kanya just to build that dream house for her family. So she was crying, and then I told her, okay, I will pray for you. So I prayed for her. And during that day, she was just down and all those things. And I was praying the entire day. Na parang, parang I was talking to the Lord, I feel like I know that prayers are powerful, but the Holy Spirit is really just nudging me to give something to her, to give a tangible thing to her. And so when I got home, I shared the story to my husband because I'm not single anymore. Our money is one. So I had to consult with him. Parang, do we have extra fund for giving? And I'm so blessed to have a husband who's so responsible with money and who really is so giving in his own terms. He immediately told me, yes, we have enough money to give to your friend, or to your office mate, to check, because God has blessed us so much since we got married and all those things. And so I was so happy that he agreed. And then he told me, but I have one request. When you give the money to Che, don't just give the money. Share the gospel to her. And when you share the gospel to her, tell her also that the money is not from us. It is from the Lord, delivered through us. And so I got super excited, and I prayed for the perfect opportunity to give her the money. And so Valentine's Day was coming, February 14. I was like, it's the perfect time kasi Valentine's Day, it could be our Valentine's gift to her. So I handed her over an envelope, and meron pa dong design na hearts, Happy Valentine's Day, Che, and then love from your Father in heaven, delivered through Mark and F. And so when she saw it, she already cried. She was already crying, and I started crying also because very iyakin po ako. So I already started crying, and then she hugged me, and then I just told her, open it when you get home and please read the letter, because in the letter I shared the gospel. And so during that night, she didn't call me, she messaged me that she was so thankful, and I saw in her IG story, IG story, I saw in her IG story, she posted this. I'm not gonna read it anymore, but she posted that, and I started crying also. And then the next day, I just hugged her, and in our coffee morning, because we always have our coffee morning, I prayed for her again, and I shared the gospel. I explained the gospel to her, and she just started crying. And then, since then, since February 15, we were praying together already during our coffee mornings. And really, it blessed me so much. And really, the cherry on top, and I guess this is the biggest blessing in my corporate world, is during my last day. She just hugged me and she told me, you know what, F, I think I'm sad to know that you're leaving. More than me missing you at work, but it's because through you I got to know God. Through you I was able to really know Him on a personal level and to really accept Him as my Lord and Savior. And she started crying again. I started crying again. And really, I told her, Che, it's not me, it's God. And I pray that you will continue with your walk with Him. And she even told me, I'm excited for our house to be built fully, because whenever I would see our house, it would always remind me of how God is our ultimate provider and how He really provides. And I just pray that when I get home, I get to share the love of God to me, similar to how you shared it with me. So there, and it was the best last day of my life, and it was the perfect way to leave the corporate world. And I hope that this story encouraged you that really that true life in finances is not really having everything that you want or even everything that you need. And really, there's really no loss in giving when you know that you are doing it for the Lord. So that's all, and may the story give glory to God. Thank you.
Friends, I wanted my wife to share that testimony because I want you to realize, when you give, you might lose money, you might lose possessions or whatever, but there's always something to gain in that experience. It's just a joy to see that you are able to bless someone because God has also blessed you. Because in the end, if I give this, Lord, it's from you. I'm just giving back what is rightfully yours. That's why true success is in giving rather than receiving. Because giving is that evidence that, number one, you know where your money comes from. Okay, you are giving credit to whom credit is due. Lord, it is yours. And it's just a joy to give it back to you. That you understand what truly counts. It's not about the money. It's not about the riches. It's about experiencing joy, experiencing love, experiencing contentment, knowing that I can trust you to provide for everything that I need. That's why, friends, it's so important for you to know who your God is. Do you know Psalm 23 verse 1? What is Psalm 23 verse 1? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. Take note of that verse. Because you understand that God is your shepherd, He's the one who would take care of you. The psalmist said, therefore, I shall not be in want. Some of you may have gone through the Colossians series, right? Right belief will lead to the right behavior. That's why it comes with you really understanding who your God is. That you can find your eternal security and even your security here on earth in God and in God alone. So remember those three principles. What are those three principles? Number one, give credit to whom credit is due. Number two, count what truly counts. And then number three, dare to share. As I end, let me just share this quotation from Benjamin Franklin. He said, money has never made man happy, nor will it. There is nothing in its nature to produce happiness. The more of it one has, the more one wants. It will never feel that it is enough. You would always feel you need more if finances is your pursuit in life. And God is right now speaking in your heart, telling you, you don't have to pursue all of these things. I can give you peace. I can give you the contentment that you are looking for. Just look at me and just get to know who I am. Because at the end, there's nothing to worry about if we truly understand that the Lord holds our life in His hand. I hope you learned something this evening, and you'll be given a chance to break out more and to discuss more the 3 points and how to find success in finances. But as I end up, we just pray for everyone as we officially close this.